So the real question or issue comes up, how can we generate a script for the whole kit and caboodle, right? To save the entire database and all the things that we've done in it. So I'm going to step you through it, okay? If you right click on the database itself, let me zoom for the back of the room, then we've done a lot of script this as that, script that as that, and so on, but there's only a certain amount of smarts built into that process. On the other hand, if I go down here to tasks, then I get an option. It's right at the very bottom of the screen, hard to see from the back of the room. But when I point at tasks, there's an option here that says generate scripts. That gives me a little wizard that helps me get the job done. Okay? So again, I right click the database, go to tasks, and generate scripts. Once that comes up, I get a little window saying, okay, here's what we're going to do. And if you never want to see this again, you can check that off. But of course, it's useless doing that because of deep freeze. It'll just be back to haunt me again next time. But what can I do? Right? There's only so much. Anyway, so I'll click next. Now here, what do we have? We have script the entire enchilada, right? The entire database and all its objects. Or we can go in and specify, specific tables and views and so on that we want, right? But no, I want the whole thing. I can't believe I want the whole thing, right? Okay, but we aren't quite done yet. It's not quite that automatic. There's a few options we have to be careful of. So nothing up my sleeve. I will share all my information with you. The next step is scripting options. So here, you can send it out directly to a file. I like to just put it into a new query window. Right? That way I can read it on and just save it if I need to. Right? Maybe I don't even need to save it, but I probably will. But I can review it first. Okay, so I'll do it to a new query window. But while I'm in here, I'm not quite done. See this advanced button? Very important. If you don't take time to change a couple of options in here, then you will be disappointed in the script that you generate. Because there's a few things that are very important. In particular, perhaps the most important one in almost all cases, about halfway down here, right before the next bold thing, type of data to script. There's three, count them, three choices. Schema only, which would just give you all your create tables and so on. But who wants a bunch of empty tables, right? If you've got some sample data in there, or maybe real data, right? Then you definitely want to preserve that. You want that include that in the script. So we can do data only. If you don't need to recreate the schema, you can just get all your inserts and so on. But what I want is both schema and data. So that's the first thing, number one. Okay, come down here, types of data, schema and data. Thank you very much. Two more that might be set correctly, but you should always double check because you go from one computer to another, settings might be different. One is to script indexes. Remember, we have manually added, at least in our example here, one secondary index. Remember, we added for a business key, a dual key, on our patient table that the OHIP number was unique. No two people should have the same OHIP number. It's not the primary key, so we enforce that with a secondary index. If this isn't set to true, it won't actually then recreate that for me. Okay, fortunately, it is set to true. The other one that often comes up is triggers. Because in most systems, I always find this is set to false. But if I've created some triggers and want them to be included in the final output here, then I want to make sure that is set to true. Now, okay, at this point, I don't have any triggers. But I definitely would want to include them in the output if there were any. So that's it. Type of data to script, make sure it's schema and data, indexes and triggers. Give them all to me. I'm on them all. I'm greedy. Okay. So that's it. Now I'm ready. I'm going to do it to a new query window, so I can just go next. It just lets me review what I'm going to do. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, you have my credit card number. I'll click order. Oh, I'll click next. Okay. So it goes off and does its thing. And there we are. We have all these objects that it's prepared and generated. I can just click finish. Thank you very much. So now I have a script. Kind of look familiar, right? Similar to those ones I gave you at the beginning of the term. It will actually create the entire database. It includes inserts and so on. So any records I have, okay, all the data gets put back in and so on and so forth. The only thing is there's a bunch of stuff at the top here which this will run correctly. But it doesn't do the full functionality that you've gotten used to from the scripts I've given you. That is to drop everything and recreate it properly right from scratch. So Okay? You have to memorize the next 50 lines of code I'm going to give you. No, I'm only kidding. Okay? What I have done is up here in Blackboard, I can't help it, I have to play. Back here in Blackboard, if we go to content categories and lab docs and resources, then down here, look at that, generic, create database header. I've given you a little snippet of an SQL script. You can stick at the top of any of these scripts that you generate to make it easy for you to create your own, very own factory fresh version, give me the whole database back again script, right? So I'll just download that, save it to my downloads folder. Okay, grab it and I'll bring it over into SQL Server. And there we go. Look familiar? Okay. Same code that's been in the top of all the ones I gave you before. Of course, it just says username the database, right? It's generic, okay? So I'll have to fix that. So in my case, my database is called D. Stovall Medical Office, right? So I could fix it over here first or paste it and then fix it afterwards. But basically, I want to do a search and replace for this. Control H, of course, gets my search and replace. Replace with D. Stovall Medical Office. And there we go. So now I have fixed up my little generic header. Now it ends here at use, right? So that's the key. Is I'm going to select all this, Control A, Control C, come back to the generated script, and I usually scroll down because it's easier to select up with the mouse than down and stop in the right spot because you hit the top and you can't go any further, right? I can't make a mistake. So I go down to where the first actual, after all these alters, where the first use is, right? Use, okay? I know I actually have that included in my generic script, so I can select everything above it, all the way to the top, delete it, and then paste in my generic header that I just changed the name. That's it. So, oh, I have that duplicated. Sorry. It wouldn't hurt, but I can take it out. And now I go. So now I have this. It's all set up to basically do the same job that we've done with our other example databases. It will drop the database and recreate it exactly as I currently have it on the server. I can save this. Give me my medical office database back, please. Okay. Oh, I got spaces? Bad. I hate spaces. Okay. A nice, meaningful name. Well, maybe not, but it's a name for a demo. Okay. And I can save it on my lab file share or whatever, right? I'm just going to save it in here for now. So then I have that. I could take that with me, just bring that file. I could go to another computer, sit down, run it, and if the database isn't there, it doesn't matter. It'll just create it, populate with all its features, its stored procedures, its everything else, data, and away I go. If it is there, it'll just drop it and give me a fresh copy exactly in this state. So it's a useful technique to know. Any questions about that? All right.